off. I'm so sorry. Apologies from our side. Repeating the question again to Ravi Handa. Looking at the current COVID situation, the MBA aspirants, if they're going to get a job or not, if they're going to get placed or not, is this the right time to do an MBA also? I mean, what is your take on that? And also, what is the change you see in the MBA aspirants?
Sure. See, the impact of COVID is going to be the worst on the students who are passing out today, this particular batch. In top tier colleges, tier one colleges, what happens is the placements happen in January, maybe in November, December. But in tier two and tier three colleges, the placements happen in February, sometimes even in March, in April. And that is a problem because A, either they don't get jobs, or B, they get jobs, but their salaries are much lesser than what they expected it to be because the job market isn't that great. But the worst place candidates are the category C ones where they get a job, but they don't get a joining. And what happens in that case is they can't even look for other jobs. The joining is delayed till August. I believe 3-4 months is okay. But in some cases, the joining gets delayed till January, till February,
Right.
which becomes a bigger problem because
major issue, yeah.
a lot of these students have taken loans and interest doesn't stop. The bank wants its pound of flesh. So those are going to be very badly hit. But the other category of students, which is the students who will be getting into an MBA right now. Now, those guys, they are in a very good situation. Now, you might be thinking that how can they be in a good situation? The entire economy is in shatters. Well, please understand that the economy is in shatters right now. The Indian economy specifically has been bad over the last couple of years, and COVID kind of broke the back. But you need to think about it, what happens 2 years from now, because your MBA will be done 2 years from now.
Correct.
In 2 years from now, hopefully we would have a vaccine. Hopefully we would have forgotten about Corona. We forgot about the great financial crisis in less than a year. So hopefully we'll forget about this in a couple of years. And that is going to be a super boom time. That is going to be the time when you are getting out of college, the kind of opportunities that you will have, they'll be immense. There will be people who will be struggling with their jobs. They will be competing, but they cannot compete with the placement committee of a business school.
Correct.
However good you are, however talented you are, how much network you have, you're still an individual. But a B school's placement committee, it's a whole organization. So a brilliant guy, well, yes. So one day Sachin Tendulkar can win a match for you, but on most days, it is the team that needs to perform. And that is why getting in right now is going to be a brilliant chance for anyone who is planning for an MBA. Maybe let's say in the next 5 years, the 2020 to 2022 batch, that is going to be the best possible batch to get in an MBA. Because think about the future aspirants. Now, the exam this year in CAT 2020 or any other MBA entrance exam, that's going to get really difficult. See, please understand that in CAT or in any other MBA entrance exam, you don't need to have a particular score. You need to score more than the next guy. Now, the example that I like to give is, suppose there is a cheetah running after you and there are 10 friends. You don't need to be faster than the cheetah. You just need to be faster than the 10th guy. Even if you are the 9th guy, you are safe.
Correct.
But what happens now is that since there will be job losses, since there will be people who will be delaying their MBA plans because they can't afford it, there will be a lot of people who want to join a B school this year, but they can't get a loan. They can't afford it. Or they might think that an MBA costs 15 lakhs. Can I actually afford it? So all of these people will probably have their finances sorted out by next year. So the competition in 2020 or for the next season.
I mean, that for us, I think as Sunstone Eduversity, we provide MBA with the basis that the students don't have to worry about the pay thing. It's pay after placement. You come with us, you study for 2 years, you get your placement, and then you probably pay a certain amount of salary to the fees you have to pay. So I think, but that is not the same case with the other B schools which you were talking about, which have 15 lakh salaries, 16 lakh salaries. That becomes too much of a monetary pressure for the students, I believe. And I'm sure such students even you have had the chance to interact with when you're coaching them. Do you think this monetary kind of pressure really puts a lot of burden on the students?
It does. It does. See, a lot of MBA aspirants are people who are coming in maybe with 1 or 2 years of work. So one thing that they need to look at is A, is what is the fees? B, what is the kind of salary or the average salary after my MBA? And C is the opportunity cost. Now, let's say, Harmeet, you are earning 100 rupees per day and I am earning 5,000 rupees per day. The kind of MBA that we look at would be drastically different. Because
Absolutely.
post an MBA, you would be very happy with if you move from 100 rupees per day to 200 rupees per day, you would have doubled. But for someone who is earning 3,000 rupees per day, for him to go to 6,000 rupees per day is going to be extremely difficult. And because of this sort of equation, MBA, the competition for top B schools is going to get extremely tough next year. And that's why what I was trying to say was, if you have a college right now, maybe it is not ideal for you. Suppose you were aiming for college in the top 10 and you've gotten an admission into 15. Last year, I would tell each and every student, if you believe you have the potential to get to the top 10, please try again. This year, I say, boss, if you have a potential of top 10 and you have a top 20 in hand, go for it. If you have a potential of top 25 and you're getting an admit into top 50 right now, go for it, because it is going to get extremely difficult next year.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think absolutely. You remember in the beginning of the session, you had told us that it's very difficult for an MBA aspirant or an MBA degree holder to just go out there in the job market exploring job for yourself. It becomes difficult. And catering to that point, I would like to say that the CRC team, the placement team of Sunstone University, the beginning of the COVID situation, we probably lost that. The work from home culture was newly introduced to India, but the CRC team, they worked day and night, and all the students got paid internships in a COVID-19 situation. I think that kind of proves your point that when somebody takes the accountability of your career, I think that becomes absolutely different than,
Sure,
yeah,
sure. It does.
yeah. I think there are so many questions coming online. I think we wasted a time in the technical glitch. So I think, can we start with the questions, Ravi?
Sure. And I would like to, once we move on to the questions, I'll also like the students to suggest that uh, my particular area of expertise where I believe I'll be able to contribute the most is if you have questions more about the pre-MBA phase, as in about which B schools to join, how to prepare, because beyond the post-MBA phase, I don't think I would be the best person. Probably Harmeet or someone from Sunstone would be better for the post
Right,
MBA part.
right. I
So
think
if we get any questions like that, Harmeet, please, I request you to pitch in.
absolutely. I would love to take those questions. Well, the first question is from Ankit Jain. He was one of the first ones to comment also today. So he
Mhm.
says, I want to ask, is this scenario like COVID will
Mhm.
remain the same after this corona for MBA aspirants? Does it affect on placements or does it not?
It obviously affects placement. See, the impact of Corona, it's very difficult to judge what it is going to be. But we have been through plenty of such crises in the past. You look at what happened at the time of the dot-com bubble, which is in the year 2000. You can look at the great financial crisis as to what happened at the end of 2008. The best years for MBAs, and you can just look at any sort of stats, the best years for MBAs were the 2000 to 2008 period, between the two booms, between the two crises, and then from 2008 till 2020. So till the next big crisis hits us, be it 2030, be it 2025, we don't know. This period is going to be brilliant for MBAs, and not just for MBAs, any sort of higher education. Because
Right.
what a lot of people are going to do in this crisis period is they're going to sit at home. Those who cannot afford it, they are going to maybe take jobs which they are overqualified for, jobs in which they are underpaid because they have financial restrictions. Those
Right.
students who can afford a higher education because they have the time or they have the money, those guys are going to really, really benefit. See, it kind of, any sort of crisis, if you think about it, we are all in the same crisis. We are all in the same storm, so to say, but we have very different boats. Now, people, say, for example, people who are in their 40s right now, the people who have the worst problem is the people who have home loans and EMIs to pay. The people who never took a home and were in a rented house, they don't face that much problem. They may be on the same level, but the way they have managed their finances is going to make a lot of difference. Very similarly, the way a 22-year-old would have managed his career till now is going to make a lot of difference in the next 10 years. So the best investment that you can make right now is going to be in your higher education. And that's very important because anyways, you are not going to make too much money in a job right now if you are a 20, 22-year-old. So it's better to use that time to get not just an MBA. If you are planning for an MTech, or if you're planning for a PhD, or if you're planning to go abroad for studies, this is going to be the easiest time to get into a college, and this is
Right.
going to be a very fruitful decision financially. You might just get better scholarships this time around as well.
Right, right. So basically, it's time for us to build our sets right now, so that when the
Hmm.
economy starts retrieving, we can get good jobs, and we can get into, because as freshers, I believe they're not even going to get much higher salary packages anyways right now, looking at the current situation as well. Well, I hope, Ankit, that answers your question. And our next question is from Nilima Philu Paul Ravi. She says, which
Hmm.
specialization is best in MBA after computer science engineering? Can you please tell me the scope of that specialization?
It doesn't matter. See, the specialization that you take, whether it's after computer science engineering or whether it's after BA economics, your background doesn't matter. There are only two things that matter. A is, do you have an inclination towards something? Do you, say, for example, do you like marketing? Do you like finance? Don't go for marketing because it's the popular thing to do. Don't go for finance because it presumably has more money. Don't think of that. Do you fundamentally like the idea or the subject or the kind of career that a marketing MBA or a finance MBA gives you? If you have that preference, that should be your top choice. On the other hand, if you don't have that sort of preference, then forget about specialization, pick a college. So
Right.
if you have, the choice of an HR from an MDI or the choice of finance from, let's say, a college like Wellinger. Now, MDI is a significantly better college than Wellinger. You might argue that finance is a significantly better paying, at least it's a better paying stream than HR. 99% of the cases, I would suggest you go for MDI HR because it's a bigger college, better placements, and better scope all over. In the 1% case where I would say go for Wellington Finance is if you really want to get into finance. And even then, I would like to question you, boss, you have not done anything till now in finance. You have not done anything till now in HR. You have just read a few articles, seen a few videos. You don't know the reality.
Absolutely,
this
yes.
this this happens in engineering also. Every student goes for computer science engineering if they get a good rank. Why? Because that pays the best, and that is what I have heard from seniors. Please don't, if some of you did that in your engineering, don't repeat the same thing. If you have a choice, uh, choose the college. Don't choose these three.
Absolutely. I mean, reading a few articles can be very different from going out there in the practical world and living every day doing that same job you dream about. I think that is the problem there.
I,
Um,
I would
well,
like to add one more point
yes, yes.
before you actually, if you are confused about this team sort of decision, just pick up an internship for 6 weeks. 6 weeks in any field will give you a very good idea of, see, in any internship, the kind of work that you would be doing would be insignificant. So don't think that, okay, this is what I'll be doing post MBA. But the people you
Absolutely.
will be interning with, what those people are doing, observe that, and that will give you a much more realistic picture compared to what anyone tells you.
I think this is a fantastic suggestion, Ravi. I think whatever specialization you people want to do and you are confused about, why don't you guys do a 6 weeks internship, and then I think you will answer yourself and we will not have to answer it for you. I think that solves the question there. There's another question by Priyesh Mulani. He says, "Sir, today everyone says that MBA has lost its value. It's just a rat race. What's your say about that?"
So I agree that it is indeed a rat race. Any sort of career is essentially a rat race. So if you're thinking about a career, if see, until and unless you're planning to become a musician or a saint, where you are not really bothered about a career but about the creative aspect, you will be in a rat race. So please just accept that. Now, the second part being, has MBA lost its value? Well, that depends on what you're comparing it with. Are you comparing it with the value that an MBA had, let's say in 2005, when there were maybe only 10 great colleges? Yes, an MBA has lost its value because there are so many more colleges out there. Even if you look at just as at an IIM, which are the top colleges, in 2006, when I was getting out, there were 6 IIMs. We had the Blackie as a term for that, which represented Bangalore, Lucknow, Ahmedabad, uh, Calcutta, Kozhikode, and Indore. Those were the 6 at that point of time.
Right.
Currently, there are 21 just the IIMs. And then there are a lot of other good colleges. MDI, the college that I was talking about, MDI now has
Right.
2 branches. ISB, if you talk about, ISB now has 2 branches. IIFT, another great college, they have now 3 branches. So because there are so many MBAs right now, the average value of an MBA has gone down. So that is one way of looking at it. However, the fundamental idea is, what is your current value today and what will be your value after MBA? If you compare these two, the delta is always going to be positive because you learn something, you become more polished, the kind of opportunities that you get will be way better than what you will get after a graduation. So
Right.
to summarize, the answer essentially is, has it lost its value compared to 15 years ago? An average MBA now, yes, it has lost its value. But is it valuable for you as an individual? Yes. With an MBA, you will be much better off than what you are right now.
Right. I hope that answers your question, Priyesh. And there's a very interesting question from Sarabjit Singh. He says how safe it is to take admissions in business school with a first batch, that too in a COVID situation. Does this involves a high risk? Well, if you're talking about the risks, Sarabjit, about COVID-19, let me tell you that before even the Prime Minister declared that we need to go in a lockdown state, Sunstone Eduversity, much before that, I think on 12th of March, we had already declared that we are going to be in the COVID-19 situation, making sure that our students, the first priority, they are safe. But if you're talking about the risk regarding MBA and regarding placements, I think Ravi is the best person to answer that.
So once again, there is no single answer for this. It would depend upon, it is the first batch for whom. Say, for example, there is a new IIM that opens up, or MDI, I believe, maybe last year or last to last year, MDI launched its executive MBA program. So is it a first batch of, maybe say one of the IITs decides to have a B school department, have a management department where they start a new batch for an MBA. Most of the IITs have great B schools. IIT Kharagpur has VG Som. IIT Bombay has one of the best B schools in the country, much better than most of the IIMs. Not all, but most of the IIMs. IIT Delhi
Right.
has a great MBA program as well. IIT Kanpur, although one of the greatest IITs, their MBA program isn't that great. So if it's a new batch of a new college which doesn't come with that much of a backing, yes, it is a high risk in terms of a career. But if it is a new college, maybe say something like when ISB opened up, you look at the pedigree, you look at the people who are associated with it, you look at the brands which are associated with it. Then no, I won't say then it wasn't a high risk. Some of the new colleges that have opened up, I believe Bennett and Coleman has come up with a B school. Then I believe the Munjals have also come up with a B school of their own. Now, these are coming from big business groups. So they will presumably be able to absorb the output of students which come from it. So they offer you a certain margin of safety versus, let's say, a few random people, or a lot of B schools which open up have just money coming in from various places where you don't know who the promoters are, you don't know who the face of the college is. Then that becomes a risk. So you need to dig a little deeper if it's a new college. If it's an old college, look at the placement stats, you have your answer.
Right. So basically, when it comes to us, we believe in the accountability of a student's career. And I think every B school should follow that. I think when you look at the accountability of a B school, I think that brings a lot of review about how the college is, even if it's new, even if it's old. It's all about taking the accountability of students' career. Well, moving on to the next question. We are getting a lot of questions about a lot of things about MBA. And the next question is from Sakshi Bajania. She says, is it easy for engineers to pursue MBA by changing stream from science to commerce? I think this is a very generic question, which a lot of people who want to change their streams have this question about. What do you have to say about that, Ravi?
I didn't understand. If you are already an engineer, how would you change your stream from science to commerce?
By doing MBA, pursuing MBA, she's saying if you change it from science, from engineering, and MBA is a commerce subject.
MBA is I don't think so. So I believe that this assumption that the MBA is essentially it's not really a commerce field. It's not really an engineering field either. It is essentially a packaging of whatever sort of goods you are selling. Now, whether you're selling vegetarian food or whether you're selling non-vegetarian food, it will work better if it is in a Milton hot case where it remains hot. So
correct.
You can't call the Milton hot case as a vegetarian product or as a non-vegetarian product. It is the
it's just a medium. Yes, it's just a medium.
It's just a medium. And as far as whether it makes sense for engineers to do it or not, well, look at any of the top 20 B schools in India. The number of engineers or the percentage of engineers would be anywhere from 50 to 90%. So it is it's the default choice for top B schools. 50 to 90% are engineers. As a matter of fact, if you look at if you look at, for example, IIM Kozhikode, they provide extra points, sometimes even 5 percentage points to non-engineers because they don't want that many engineers. They have so many engineers applying, they give advantage to non-engineer candidates. So it has kind of become an thing to worry about, that if you are a male engineer, then the amount of diversity points that you get is essentially zero. A female candidate who comes from, let's say, a BA economics has a much better chance of converting than an engineer from, let's say, SVNIT Surat.
Right. Absolutely agreed on that. I think, yeah, I mean, I think this is something which we have it in our mindset from the very childhood, that science is a better stream than commerce. I think these are all hoaxes and just, talks. I think whatever one loves to do, one should pursue that. Right. Moving on, I think Priya Chauhan says, sir, I'm good in accounts. Will MBA finance suit me?
Yes, why not? So whether you're good in accounts or whether you're good in math, see, MBA in finance at its core would be mathematical in nature. So if you're good with numbers, presumably you're good in accounts, you're good with numbers. So MBA finance would suit you. Having said that, I would like to add a very simple fact. don't pick finance just because you like accounts. It's going to be radically different from it. It's going to be an MBA in finance is going to be extremely different from whatever you are doing in accounts. Will it help? Yes, a little bit of background knowledge would help.
Right. I hope, Priya, that answers your question. The next question is from Avinash Singh. He says, how difficult is it to get a job after lockdown? Is it better to go for MBA right now? How is Sunstone different? I think the third part I can take up. You can answer the first two questions. How difficult to
Sure.
get job after lockdown, and is it better to go for MBA right
Okay. See, jobs after lockdown. Now, a lot of people, they just earlier pre-lockdown, they got jobs because they were from a good college. They applied. There were plenty of opportunities which were there, and companies were hiring for growth. So, if you look at a company like, let's say, an Ola or a Swiggy or the entire startup ecosystem, they were hiring a lot of engineers and a lot of MBAs because they projected huge growth in the next 2 to 4 years. Now that has died out. As a matter
now?
of fact,
Right.
both Ola and Swiggy, the examples that I gave, not
Hmm.
only they have frozen hiring, they have fired a lot of people. So
Yes, that
getting
was on the
jobs
news.
is,
Yes.
yeah. So getting the jobs are going to be difficult, but what you can do is to improve your chances. It's a game of probability. So what you can do to improve your chances is improve your skill set, improve your communication skills. You might be an expert in coding, but until and unless you have good communication skills, that's not going to get you a job. That's a sad reality in India. A lot of people who are extremely talented, but they can't communicate properly and they cannot showcase their skill set properly. That's why they don't get jobs. No one actually, sadly, has the time to, sit down and evaluate each and every candidate. So that is going to be a problem. So investing in your skill set is what I would very strongly recommend for this COVID era.
Right, right. So, according to Sir, it is the right time to do MBA, and not just MBA. As Sir mentioned, this is the right time to do any type of higher studies you have been wanting to pursue for a long time. I think this is the time for you to develop your skill sets. And coming to the third part of the question, how is Sunstone different? Well, Sunstone University is India's only B school that invests in you. That is, we make sure that you enroll with us. You have a 2 year proper MBA degree education, and then we place you, our CRC team makes sure that you are placed, and after that we kind of take your fees from you in parts. You can read more on sunstone.edu.in, and you will read about two programs, which is pay after placement and money back guarantee. Well, I hope that answers your question, Avinash. The next question, Ravi, is from Sai Sindhuja. He
Mhm.
says, any online internship platform suggestions during this lockdown period, sir, to know our interest of specialization as you just suggested.
Sure. So you can look at Internshala. That's something that I personally have hired interns for my company from Internshala, and they do a pretty decent job. Other than that, what I would like to suggest is, suppose you want to do an internship in HR, suppose you want to do an internship in finance, go to some of the companies in your area, because uh, you might not be able to move, but you maybe, so if it's an online internship, they might want you to come in maybe once a week or once in 2 weeks. Now suppose you're located in Jaipur, you cannot do that comfortably in Gurgaon. So if you are in Jaipur, look for a local company in Jaipur. Need not be a big company. See, it's an internship, you're doing it for learning. Yes, some certificate, some tag will have value, but it's not going to matter that much. So look for a local one, email them. If possible, look up a contact who works there. LinkedIn is your best friend right now, because on LinkedIn you can sort people by location. Look at a company that you are interested in. Look at a person that you are who has who works in the similar field such as you. 90% of the times it's very simple to guess their email IDs. Typically what it's going to be is the first name at the rate of the company's website.com, or first name dot the surname, or first name dot S or something like that, the first
Right.
letter of the surname. What you do is find out these people, you have their names, you don't have their email IDs, send them separate emails to whatever 6, 7 combinations you can think of. The wrong emails would bounce back. The right email will go, and trust me, nearly everyone replies to the emails that they get. And if you are sending them a generic email, boss, I want a job, you're not going to get it. But if you send them a personal specific email, then this is what I do, this is why I want to do an internship, this is what I want to achieve out of it. Trust me, 9 times out of 10, you'll get a reply. Maybe you'll get an internship or maybe you won't, but you'll at least get a reply and you'll know the process. So hit LinkedIn right now and start looking for those internships. If not, Internshala is always there.
I think the biggest thing, I think, Ravi, which is the most difficult thing, is to start. We think, we'll do this, we'll do that. I think the first mail you send, I think after that, everything comes into the, channelizes
True,
it on its own.
true.
Next question is from the same person who asked the previous one, Sai Sindhuja. Does low percentage during engineering affect to get into good B schools, even if you have a good CAT or GMAT score? Well,
Uh,
talking about Sunstone, Ravi, to the audience, as it's, Sunstone has its own employability score for applicants, so we don't really, it doesn't have a problem. Well, the question to you now, Ravi.
hmm. uh, well, it does matter. Now, it depends on which college you are looking at. Nearly each and every college places its selection criteria in the public domain. For example, if you look at, I believe, if you look at something like IIM Indore, which is one of the best colleges in the country, they give zero weightage to how much you have in graduation. So they just don't care. But they care about your 10th marks, they care about your 12th marks. As a matter of fact, the weightage that they give to their 10th marks is more than the weightage they give to the CAT score. The weightage that they give to the 12th marks is more than they give to the CAT score. So CAT score, I believe, comes to a little less than 20% of the overall weightage, and they don't care about graduation. However, if you look at, let's say, a college like an IIM Ahmedabad or a college like an IIM Bangalore, if you have a poor score in graduation, forget about it. There is very little chance you're going to, get into these colleges. And any college that you look at the end of the day, if you think about it, what is a college looking for? A college is looking for a candidate to train. So they are essentially looking from the pool that they have to select the best one. If they select purely on the basis of a CAT score, it's unfair. It's a 3-hour exam. If they select purely on the basis of 10th or 12th or the kind of work experience that you have, again, that is unfair. So they need to look at the whole picture. And I believe nearly every college, as Harmeet mentioned, that Sunstone also looks at an overall picture when they are selecting candidates, which I believe is the right way to do. And that provides a lot of accountability to the B school as well. That, okay, when you selected me, these were the reasons you selected me, and now you're accountable to get me a placement which, justifies my decision of joining your college.
Correct. So when a student comes, I think he comes with a lot of expectations, a lot of dreams, and I think the college what the college can do is just take the accountability of it. Right. So moving on to the next question, Ravi. Firstly, Ravi, I'm sorry for the technical glitch, and we would request you to extend 10 to 15
Sure,
minutes
sure, sure.
more with
Not
our
not a,
students.
not a problem at all.
Thank you so much. Our next question is from Gaurav Mishra. He says, "Sir, what advice will you give to an aspirant who wasted 4 years in government job preparation? Should he join B school at age 26, 27?"
Uh, a tough one, see, because you're kind of already on a back foot. I would say no in this case, because what will happen is any B school is not going to select you just because of your scores. You will have to go through an interview process, and when you go through an interview process, you're going to lose out, because this will be an obvious question that, okay, what were you doing for 4 years? And if you were doing
Correct.
that for 4 years, now why are you coming for a job? So it would be better for someone in your position, work for a year, work for 2 years, 18 months, maybe 1.5 years, so that you can showcase that, okay, I've given up on that idea. Now I'm rebuilding my career. I'm rebuilding my career from scratch. This is what I've done in the last 1 year. Yes, my past sins of 4 years of not doing anything, they cannot be washed away, but I'm restarting now. And for that restart, I need an MBA. And that's where you as a B school can help me. Once you go with that sort of an attitude that, okay, I am back, now I need your help, a B school would accept you. But if you go with them that, okay, I'm nothing, please boost me up, it will be very difficult for a B school to, take a chance on you.
Correct, correct. So I think even if you want to do an MBA, I think age does not matter. What matters is the passion. Any higher education you want to pursue, you should know why you want to do it and what is that one channel or path you want to pursue after the completion. I think Gaurav, we have a scheme called no placement, no fees. That is, if you have a training with us and if you study with us for 2 years, and we cannot place you, which is going to be, I think, 1 or 2% chance, because that is what our CRC team wants to do. I think that is the best chance for you. If you do not get placed, you don't have to pay fees. Moving on, we just mentioned we just answered Sarabjit Singh, I think, a while back, and first of all, he says thank you. Thanks for the guidance to the question, sir. It was great to know from you. Apart from this, I also want to know, in PGDM, how much does it matter if the business school is not accredited by AIU?
It doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter at all. Say, I think till 2016 or 17, IIMs, they awarded a PGDM, which is a postgraduate diploma in management. They didn't award even an MBA degree because they were not allowed to do that. See, please understand that an MBA degree can only be provided by universities or institutions which are created with a special act like the IIM. On the other hand, PGDM is provided uh, with institutions who have some sort of accreditation from AICTE. So is PGDM better? Is MBA better? Or do any of these matter? The answer is no, none of these things matter. What matters is which B school you are going to, what sort of credibility does that school have, what sort of track record do they have, how much accountability they are taking for their own students. A school like an ISB, I'm not very sure, but I think even till today, they don't provide an MBA degree or a PGDM. They don't have AICTE certification or accreditation, whatever is required. They have it from a lot of international university, international bodies and international universities. Once
Mm-hmm.
again, even if they had it from nowhere, it didn't matter because they're ISB, grade B school. They have the accountability, they have the track record. So check for these. Stop looking at PGDM, MBA, association with a university or anything like that. Look at the college, look at their history, look at what sort of accountability do they have towards their students. And that would be a much better judge than a degree or a certification.
I hope that answers your question. And the next question is from Ushmi Datta. She says, can we do MBA after BCA?
Yes, you can. Any sort of graduation. See, as long as you are graduate in any field, as I said a little while ago when I gave the Milton hot jar example, it doesn't matter what you are putting in that.
Correct.
It so just a medium. So if you have a BCA or a BBA or law or even a medical degree, an MBA is a value addition.
Correct, correct. I think, and as sir said, this is the right time to pursue the higher education you have been thinking about for a long, long time. The next question is from Jitendra Kumar. He says, what is the scope of PGDM, sir, in situations like COVID-19?
I guess we have already answered it, but I'll just repeat for his benefit. It
Correct.
depends on which batch you are talking about. The batch that is passing out right now, it's hugely problematic for them. The batch that will pass out in 2022, it is going to be a huge boom for them. So for joining an MBA, it is a great time. But if you're passing out, I'm sorry, hard luck. You got the rough end.
I think the ones who are still passing out, they should also not be disheartened. You continue to do what you love. If you're hardworking, if you know what you want to do, I think situations will be better. And what matters is the dedication and the consistency one shows in an organization. I believe that. I think
Sure, I didn't want to depress anyone or uh, be negative about it. It's just that, see, I have a lot of students who I am in touch with, who were my ex students. These are uh, these are really some shocking stories that they got placed with jobs of 15 lakhs per annum, and they were supposed to join in June,
right.
and instead of June, now they are joining in September. So it doesn't look like that much of a problem. Okay, was it June or September?
Hmm.
It's 3 or 4 months. But think about someone who has a loan on his head. 15
Correct.
lakhs per annum translates to roughly 1 lakh per month. 3 4 months is essentially missing 3 4 months of salary. 3 4 lakhs,
Correct.
which could have been used to pay back a
You know,
loan, could have been used to
support the family.
support the
Yeah.
family and a lot of other things. So
These are
perhaps
definitely
these are
Definitely one of the
issues which are there.
challenging times. Yeah, challenging times we are staying in. Nobody had a clue that this would, go beyond the reach of the government as well, beyond a point that it would take this much time.
True.
And I think this is a situation where I believe things will fall in place, but it is going to take gradually a lot of time. I think that. Moving on with our questions. Priyesh says, "What is the scope of MBA in data analytics or business analytics?"
That's one of the
Yes.
best fields to get into. There is absolutely no doubt about it, because it's an upcoming field, and not many colleges are providing specific courses for data analytics. There are a few programs that I would like to recommend if you are interested in this particular field. There is a program which is offered by ISP, which is a great program, and it's easy to get in. Now, when I say it is easy to get in, I don't mean that anyone gets in admit. It is easier is probably the right word. If you cannot get into a regular program at ISP, you might be able to get into the analytics program, which is a very good idea. There is another brilliant program which is offered by IIM Calcutta, IIT Kharagpur, and IIS. I think it's ISI Calcutta. All three of them have combined and created a new course purely on data analytics, business analytics. It's called, I believe, PGDBA, Postgraduate Diploma in Business Analytics. Great program. Once again, it's not easy to get in. But if you compare it with, okay, can I get into an IMC? Well, this is kind of the back channel. Not many people know about these programs. Not many people are eligible for these programs. Because to get into an IIM Calcutta, you just need to be a graduate. Theoretically, you just need to be a graduate. But to get
Right.
into one of these programs, you need to have background in business analytics. You need to have a background in data analytics. You need to have a 4 year or a 5 year graduation degree. There are a lot of restrictions, which cuts down a lot of competition. Also, another thing which would happen is in any data analytics course, whether it is from a top B school or from a tier 2 B school, the people who will be getting in, they will be people who will be coming in with some sort of data analytics experience. It will be
Right.
very difficult for someone who has no idea about it. And see, in HR, if you have no idea, you can still come in and become an expert. You can't really do that in data analytics. So you need some sort of a background, some sort of a preparation, which means wherever you are, your overall batch would be in a much better situation from a placement perspective, because a lot of them would already be having jobs. A lot of them would already be having a certain level of skill set. So it is kind of like you're already starting on a front foot. So if you get into a data analytics program currently, it's a very, very good idea.
I hope that answers your question, Priyesh. And it's a very interesting question. It's a new area, I think, to explore. Even digital marketing is having a boom. I think because of the current situation, everybody is transforming online and things are changing. On that note, there's another question from Prithvi Reddy. He says, "Is part-time MBA and full-time MBA as same value?"
Not really, no. See, you need to think about what sort of value an MBA provides. One is the learning. I believe on the learning front, yes, a part-time MBA or a full-time MBA or even an online MBA, what you learn from a book, what you learn from a lecture, that would probably be the same. But that's just one very small part of your MBA package. There is a lot of learning that happens because of the kind of peer network that you have. In a part-time program, you will never have that sort of a peer network. Another benefit of a full-time program is that 10 years down the line, are you actually going to remember someone who you spent 2 years with, or are you going to remember someone you spent 3 hours of a week with? And
And
in today's
what a
world,
brilliant
net
example. What a brilliant example.
so your network is going to really matter 10 years down the line when you're looking for that CXO level of a job, or when you're applying for a VP position. If you have someone there, getting your foot in the door is going to be a lot easier. So that's one part of it. Another part of it is when companies come to hire, they know that getting into a full-time program is difficult. People who couldn't get into a full-time program for any reason, maybe they didn't have the skill set, didn't have the marks, or they didn't have the time for a full-time program, it's the second category which goes for part-time. So if you give me two options and I can't evaluate the candidates on the merit basis, but one guy is from full-time and one guy is from part-time, me and majority of people will choose the full-time guy because, well, he must have been
Right.
better. That's why he went for the full-time program. So
Absolutely,
that's
absolutely.
why
I
I
think that
would
that's
recommend
a
a
that's a
full-time program.
brilliant example you gave. That somebody you spend 2 3 hours with is going to be a much lesser value than somebody you spend 7 to 8 hours dedicatedly working something on. I think that's a brilliant example, even in terms of job, part-time job and full-time job. It's the same, probably
Sure.
the same thing, right? There's another yeah, student. His name is Nishant Rajan. He says, I want to take admission in MBA, but मैंने बस मैथ का एग्जाम दिया है, क्या मैं सनस्टोन से एडमिशन ले सकता हूँ? जी, आप एडमिशन ले सकते हैं. And he's asking it to you, basically.
I am
So,
not really aware. I believe,
yes, yes.
Harmeet,
Even
if you
after,
have some sort of an email ID or something that you can give out for to students, yours or someone from your team,
right, right,
uh,
right.
my email ID is ravihanda@gmail.com. So if any of you have any follow-up questions, anything else you want to discuss, please feel free to email me on ravihanda@gmail. I'll happily answer your queries, and I'm sure Sunstone would have some contact
Right,
form or link.
and if you want to connect to Sunstone, please you can call us at 7065303030, or you can connect to us at connect@sunstone.edu.in. The details will also be put in the chat in some time, right? So yes, taking your question, Nishant. Once we give, even if you have cleared your mat, we can still you are still eligible to apply to Sunstone University. And moving on from this question, next question is from Yathish S. Reddy. He says, how does COVID-19 affects 2021 MBA placements?
I have no idea. See, I know for a fact by 2022, or at least I hope by 2022, the situation would be very clear. I know that the situation is a little messed up right now. 2021, quite possible it has COVID is something that we have forgotten about. We don't know. And it's quite possible that even in 2021, we still have some sort of restricted movement. Cinema halls are not open. So I think that's a good parameter. For the batch of 2021, which will pass out in 2021, do
Right,
you
right.
think that on your graduation day you will go and watch a movie? If you believe yes, you'll go and watch a movie on the day of your graduation in a cinema hall in a PVR, well, then yes, it will be a great situation. But if you think that no, you will probably sit at home, then it's going to be bad. So
I
no one
hope
knows.
I hope everybody of us thinks that we will be in a movie theater. That's an optimistic approach, I believe. I hope things will fall in place. And this is to all the students who had registered with us for the webinar. You will be provided with an e-certificate please, I think one of our team members will put the link of the certificate in the chat, and you can, fill that up, and you will be provided with an e-certificate. And next question is from Omrat Chauhan. Um, he says, as per you, which is better, MBA after BCom or CA after or without BCom? It's a tricky
I
question.
didn't quite understand that. See,
I think he's saying which is better, MBA after BCom or CA after BCom,
BCom. Okay.
or yeah.
So among these two, it depends on whether do you think that you will be, where you are doing an MBA from. So suppose you are doing an MBA from any of the top 10 colleges in India, then MBA is better. If you are doing it from 10 to 50, then I believe an MBA or a CA would have the same value. If you are doing an MBA from anything beyond 50, then I believe CA is a better option. So it depends on, because CA, a CA is a CA. It doesn't
Yes.
matter. There cannot be a good CA college or a bad CA college. It's whether you are a CA or you are not. However, in MBA, there could be a huge difference between someone who does an MBA from Ahmedabad versus someone who does it from, I believe there are 1,500 MBA colleges in India right now, who does it from number 1,500. That doesn't happen with a CA. So not a fair enough comparison, but I believe we need to have it in brackets. Top 10 colleges, MBA from them is better. 10 to 50, they're equivalent. 50 and beyond, CA is a better choice.
I think we are running out of time, so we'll take the last three questions.
Sure.
Yeah. So there's a question from Akshat Kapoor. He says, "Is there any scope in MBA after BSc Hotel Management?" Third, hotel management.
Yeah, sure. So again, if you come from the hotel management background, now there can be two things. A is that you want to get out of hotel management and you want to get into a much more generic field. Then an
Right.
MBA will give you an opportunity to do that. And B is that with a graduation in hotel management, you could do a master's in hotel management or you could do an MBA. The MBA would be a lot more generic. It will give you a lot more flexibility. It will open up. You can still continue to work in the same sector, but an MBA would open up a wider variety of choices. So if you're
Correct.
looking for a wider variety, then an MBA is a good choice. However, if you're looking for, in continuing more depth in the same field, then I believe a master's in hotel management would be a better choice. So it depends on which direction you want to go into.
Absolutely.
One
I
more
think
thing,
yes, yes.
one more thing that I like to add, and it would also depend upon where you are doing that master's from. So where that MBA is from, because whether it's in master's in hotel management or an MBA, please do something. Just a graduation is not going to cut it. So an MBA is better or an master's in hotel management is better. That's your choice. But please pick one of them and don't delay it further.
I think I absolutely agree with Ravi and Akshat. If MBA is your choice, don't be disheartened just because you have a different stream in graduation. You can still, explore in marketing, operations, depending on your interests. If you really want to do MBA. Moving to the second last question is from Shubhada Khetkar. Sir, I want to do MBA in future. I'm in 11th at present science. But sir, which is better field for me to do MBA after graduation?
Doesn't matter. So you should not be thinking about that right now. At this stage, your priority should be getting good marks in class 12th. After getting good marks in class 12th, your priority should be getting good marks in graduation. Please understand that, the 80 people on Twitter retweeting that marks don't matter. Well, those were the lucky ones. Those were people who got really lucky, who had some exceptional talent. As long as you are in the Indian education system, or forget that, as long as you are in the Indian system in any way, your marks are going to matter. Where you
Absolutely.
studied from is going to matter. I don't know if you remember how the session today started when Harmeet was introducing me. The first thing, so the first thing that she talked about was, okay, Ravi did his computer science engineering from IIT
From
Kharagpur.
IIT Kharagpur,
It
yes.
has been 15 years. I've done plethora of things after that. But at the end of the day, what matters is what thappa you have, what brand you have,
Exactly.
and as long as you're in the Indian system, marks are going to matter. So, from a long-term perspective, I would recommend that if you're planning for an MBA, build up a reading habit, read more books, read on more diverse topics. That will give you an idea of the world around you. But your number one priority should be getting good marks right now.
Absolutely. And there we are yet again to the last question, which is from Jitendra Kumar. He says, Sunstone University is the best college in pay after placement. क्या fee in different college? Sir, Sunstone में इसी साल मैंने admission लिया है. Sir, अगर आप मुझे बता सके PGDM का क्या scope है आगे जाके? So he's one of our current
So,
who has enrolled this year.
okay. So once again, so whether it's a PGDM or an MBA or any other thing, it doesn't matter. What's going to matter is how much you have learned and can you communicate that learning to someone else. So
Right.
these are the two things that you should be focusing on. If you believe before the MBA you were at level 3 and now you have processed to level 5, you are a much better candidate. Yes, there is a lot of scope. But if you were at level 3 before the MBA and you are still at level 3, or you are at level 5 but you are not able to communicate your skill set, you are not able to showcase your talents, well, then it's useless for you. So it would depend upon what you have learned. PGDM or MBA or certification, that's not really going to make a difference, especially now when you are entering the job market. And once you enter the job market, even the skill set, your whatever you have learned, that's not going to matter. Then what's going to matter is what you do in your job. As long
Right.
as are you able to meet the targets given to you, whether you are able to achieve the tasks that are allocated to you. Those are the things that are going to matter.
I think there's a popular saying, the boss does not want to know if you have problems. He wants to know if you have already got the solutions to those problems.
True.
Right. Having said that, before going, and first of all, thank you so much, Ravi, for taking out time to address our students' issues. It means a lot to all those MBA aspirants who are in the verge and dilemma of what to do and what not to do right now. So thank you so much for giving us time. Any last words you would like to tell those MBA aspirants before you leave?
Um, Please just continue the hard work that you have been doing. An MBA, or rather any form of higher education, should be on your radar right now. Please don't delay it further. If you can afford it, if you have the time, if you have the money, get that higher education right now, because this is the appropriate time. And if you want to discuss it further, I'm just an email away. Once again, my mail ID is ravihanda@gmail.com. If you're planning to prepare for CAT, please have a look at our website, HandaKaFunda.com, where we have a bunch of online courses for various MBA entrance exams. So thanks, Harmeet. Thanks a lot for calling me for this.
Thank
Hopefully,
you
we
so
will be able
much.
to do it maybe next month or something under better circumstances.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it was a lovely session. We might have you again to address our students. Having said that, thank you, Ravi, for such an enlightening session. I hope all your wise words and guidance will benefit the students out there. We hope to have more sessions with you. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being there. We'll see you soon with yet another interesting webinar. And for all those who have registered for the webinar, as I mentioned a few minutes back, please make sure that there is a link which is in the chat given right now. You can please press that link and register yourself for the certification, and you will get an e-certificate online. And if not that, you can, if supposedly you have missed that by any chance, you can still mail us at connect@sunstone.edu.in, and we will get back to you. This session will be saved here on our channel for you to watch again, and for others who missed joining us live. Also, don't forget to follow Sunstone Eduversity's social media handles for updates on webinars, amazing videos, and content that can help you build skills and grow in your career. And lastly, if you haven't subscribed to that channel, please do that right away. Thank you. This is Harmeet signing off, and I hope that we'll see you very soon with another webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.